Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my guest, my uncle Andrew Barreto. And today we'll be covering more of the NBA Finals, as well as a couple free agent signings in the NFL, and another top prospect being called up to the Major League, as well as one of the top rivalries, right, currently in baseball. But to start us off, Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Obviously, Pacers came back in Game 1. Halliburton hit the game-winning shot, and they took the 1-0 series lead. But the Thunder weren't messing around in Game 2. They came out and they just dominated the whole game. I mean, they ended up winning 123 to 107. It was close. I mean, if you look at the box score doesn't tell you the whole story. But if you look, the first quarter is a 6 point differential. Third quarter, 1 point differential, and the fourth quarter the Pacers won by 3 points. But it was just the second quarter. Um, Pacers just lost the quarter 21 to 33, and they were down um 19 heading into half. And unlike game one, they just couldn't come back. Throughout all of game one, they were down 12. They were within reasonable striking distance to come back, and they were able to do it. But in this game, they just couldn't. Um, and and they just couldn't. They didn't have that fight in them. Halliburton didn't play that well. He only ended up with um 17 points. They need him to be more aggressive. But what did you see out of game two? I know you told me that you didn't really get to
I
catch it.
actually, yeah, no, I mean, I missed the game. Had a birthday party to go to, but by the time I chimed in, it said final, and I kind of had a feeling that the OKC was a little upset, and they were going to put the whooping on uh, the Pacers. And yeah, it looks like Alex Caruso had a phenomenal game. He shot effectively, 4 of 8 from three, 6 of 10, 6 of 11 for 20 points. Wiggins too was another guy who they were shooting pretty high percentage there, and that just looked like that was the and then Shea Gilgeous Alexander. I mean, he just what do you do about that guy? MVP of the league. He was doing that to all the other teams during the regular season, and he's still continuing. And yeah, this is going to be tough for the Pacers to try to get another victory here. I mean, they're going back home now, right? They have what is it, a couple games in Indiana, and they're going to be loud, and probably Caitlin Clark will be there, with some of her fever teammates, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it's just going to be too much Shea, too much of their other two big threes. Who's that? Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Caruso, uh, and I think they end up winning the series like we spoke about before.
Yeah, like you said, I want to talk a little bit about going into game three, what the Pacers need to do if they want to, come out of this series as champions. And like you said, Rick Carlisle even said it. Shea's gonna get 30 points every night. There's no doubt about it. You can't really slow him down. He'll find a way to get his buckets. I mean, he's got a beautiful mid-range jumper that's just money every time, he
Every
shoots it. Um, but it's the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers. I mean, they put up 107 points. That's not bad. Um, the whole starting lineup had 10 plus. It's just defensively they need to shut down the other guys. Like I said, Shea's gonna have 30 points, but they can't afford Alex Cruz. They can have Alex Cruz for scoring 20 points. They can't have Aaron Wiggins scoring 18. They need
yeah,
to shut down those other guys. Like I said, Jalen Williams obviously he'll get close to 20 every game. Same with Chet, but you can't let these other guys score. You can't let Kason Wallace score or Lou Dort score or even Hartenstein. You can't let these other guys score. You need, if they're gonna win, they need to beat them off the big three of Chet, Jalen Williams, and Shea. Otherwise, if they keep letting these other bench guys score and other guys that aren't really main scorers like Caruso, he's known for his defense. He's not known for his scoring. The Pacers are gonna have a hard time winning this series. And Halliburton needs to be more aggressive. He scored most of his points in the fourth quarter by the time they're already down 20 plus.
mhm.
And he needs to look to score more. He needs to look to try to get to the rack more. I know he's an assist type of guy. I know he runs the offense. I know he sets up everyone else. But if they need more scoring and they need it from him and they need him to get going and figure it out fast because they can't wait for him till the fourth quarter when they're already down. 15, 20 plus for him to start scoring. They need him to start scoring in that, first, second quarter so that they're within striking distance all game.
Yeah, there's you don't have one of those Halle, what are they calling, Halle Curry shots at the end of the game every game. You're going to have to do something like you said in between there, before the fourth quarter, before you're down 20. Looks like Siakam didn't play well that game. He's a huge player on that team. He's a problem once he's on and making his shots. He was 3 of 11. He started 15, but 3 of 11. We're used to seeing him shoot better than that. Obi Toppin, he played 19 minutes and only gave them 3 points, 1 of 8. So there's a problem there too. I mean, they just need to more buckets need to fall, obviously, but yeah, no, I think defensively and maybe that kicks up once with that little home court advantage they're going to have soon, and the crowd, just cheering them on, being loud. Like I pretty certain that they will, like they have so far.
Yeah, and another thing I've seen is the Pacers got to be stronger with the ball. I mean, this Thunder's team's got everything. They got the offense, they have the defense, and they're the team that's supposed to win this, right? Everyone, everyone believes they're gonna win it. Everyone's picking them to win, but for the Pacers, it's not like the series was over, before it started. They have a chance. They've beaten good teams and they could beat this Thunder team, but they got to be need better ball security. I saw too many times in game 2 of guys going up getting it stripped. I seen Miles Turner try to, he gets the rebound and he brings it down to his chest, and then the smaller guys are stripping it down from him. They need to be strong with the ball and stop forcing these sloppy turnovers, because then the Thunder are just turning into fast break points, and
Yeah.
they're just running away with the game. And it's like I said, it was just hard. It's hard to come back against a team that's great like this Thunder's team is. So
Yeah, it looks like they were out rebounded. The Pacers were out rebounded, 35 to 43. And I'm sure, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm sure that led to some fast break points, some easy buckets on the other side. And yeah, that
yeah,
for
and a
them
lot of
to,
second chance points.
right. Okay. For them for the Pacers to even stay, in this series, are going to have to correct that. And, uh, yeah, we'll just go ahead and wait and see, make some adjustments. Like, you have a couple days here to make the necessary adjustments. Oh, actually, the game's tomorrow, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it should be good. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I like the series so far. I missed game 2, but just two different teams in it, bunch of different young stars. It's definitely, I think what the NBA wants to kind of showcase is some of their up and coming new stars, opposed to the older guys, the LeBrons, the Currys, the Kevin Durant's. They want to say, check out this OKC team who could be, not only win the finals this year, but could be the next kind of dynasty is what they're throwing around if they could get one first.
Yeah, it's just it's gonna be tough. But yeah, by the time this episode will come out, game 3, it will be the day of game 3. So for some of you seeing this, game 3 possibly might even have happened already. But yeah, that is all for right now for the NBA for the finals. Obviously, we'll cover game 4, and because game 4 is on Friday, there's only 1 day break between game 3 and 4. So games, I think 4 and 5 will happen by the time the next episode is out. So we'll cover those 2 games. We'll cover our thoughts and see um what the series is looking like then. But we're gonna be moving on to some NFL signings. Arguably one of the most controversial QBs in the league right now, Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of not controversy, a lot of thinking of where is Rodgers going to end up. Was he going to the Vikings? Was he going to the Steelers? Was he going to the Browns? Was he staying with the Jets? And he eventually, was he going to the Giants? And he ends up in Pittsburgh. Obviously, heading into the season or heading into the offseason, Pittsburgh didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. They both left in free agency. They signed Mason Rudolph. Obviously, he wasn't going to be your starter. And then they drafted Will Howard out of Ohio State. I believe in the fifth round of the draft, and for a couple of weeks it would look like he was going to be the guy. And then this past week, Rodgers signs a 1 year, 13.6 million dollar deal. Obviously, Rodgers 41 is his 21st season, and he's looking to be the front runner of this of the Steelers. Have a great wide receiver to throw to in DK Metcalf, and so it's gonna be interesting to see him in the black and gold.
Yeah, he was running out of places to sign. I know you mentioned Russell Wilson, and he got signed earlier by Giants, right? Um, and who else? Who were the other teams? The Jets ended up getting the. Well, he didn't. He wasn't going to go back to the Jets, but Jets released him. Who
Yeah,
was
I
the
just
other
know.
team
I
there?
know Jets. I mean, not Jets. I know Giants, Vikings. I know Pittsburgh.
So
Um,
yeah, the other one was Cleveland, where Cleveland,
yeah,
yeah, they rather go the youth route. It looks like well they have Joe Flacco, but then they have all those young quarterbacks that they drafted, and that's another topic. But yeah, I mean, who wanted the baggage of Aaron Rodgers and what he brings to the team? Looks like the Steelers will take that on, and I mean I like it. I don't think it's that bad. Again, it's a 1 year contract. Mostly, it looks like it's incentive based. He has a 3.65 million base, and then he's got a 10 million signing bonus, and then after that, like everything's depending on wild card win, divisional win, conference champions, and which is good. I mean, keep them hungry to perform. Um, and yeah, he's going to have DK Metcalf at his disposal. And now he's getting a top defense. He's getting the top defense in the league. I know TJ Watt's not at
yeah,
camp right now. It's another story, but eventually when he shows up after getting fined, Aaron Rodgers comes and he's got himself a pretty solid defense. And I know they're having higher hopes that he's going to get them, some wins and get them past the wild card. Hopefully this next year.
yeah. Obviously, last year with the Jets wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. I mean, he had 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 INTs. They didn't weren't close to making the playoffs. But I mean, he still put up, coming off the Achilles last year. He played all right. He didn't play terrible. Obviously, he's the four-time MVP. I don't know where people's expectations are for a 41-year-old quarterback. Obviously, Brady, set the bar pretty high when he won a Super Bowl when he was, 43, 44. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Um, you know, can he lead the Steelers to a 500 record? You've seen the stat. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record before, so it's gonna be interesting to see if this is the year that might get broken
Yeah,
or not.
that's the
Um,
upside with this signing is that hey, if it all works out well for the Steelers, they got themselves a deal and a quarterback who's throwing 4,000 yards and taking them to the playoffs, taking them, past the wild card to the divisional round, and that would, everything would work out fine. Or he could be washed up. That could be the end of him. He had
yeah,
two previous years he got hurt one year, the mediocre year, the year before, and then that's pretty much probably his story to get released from the Steelers, and that's the end, right? But but nonetheless, I think that's a good pickup for the Steelers, especially. I mean, they were getting down to who was going to be the quarterback, right?
yeah, and now they, Will Howard, the rookie, he could learn a year behind Rodgers before possibly taking that starting role next year. So it'll be great leadership for the former Buckeye, getting taught and gets to learn behind the four-time MVP. But some more,
Did you see what Miles Garrett said?
yeah, he's gonna put him in the graveyard.
Is
Yeah,
that
I did see
funny or
that.
what?
That is
That's
funny. I
funny.
also saw, I also
Yeah,
saw that apparently Rodgers is married. He pulled up to mandatory.
Rodgers is married.
Yeah, apparently he pulled up to mandatory training camp with the wedding band on. He didn't say to who, but
Yeah.
he did say he's been married for a couple months.
All right.
Yeah, but
Yes, more drama.
yep. But yes, some more other NFL free agency signings. It's a couple of running backs. Nick Chubb, the former Brown after passing the physical, is signing a 1-year deal with the Texans. It's a 1-year deal. It's worth up to $5 million. He now gets a fresh start. After having the knee injuries and the foot injuries. Um, and it's a big pickup. Obviously the Texans already have Joe Mixon. They already have a great starting running back. Now you get a 1-2 punch of Mixon and Chubb. So more offense for CJ Stroud, who had a slump, last year. He wasn't obviously they made the playoffs. Obviously he wasn't that great as he was his rookie year. So hopefully this 1-2 punch of a running back to, open up his passing game, make life easier for him in the backfield. And hopefully, Nick Chubb could go out there and ball. Like I said, he dealt with the injuries. He was with the Browns. The Browns weren't winning. They went to the playoffs, I believe, one time in his career. So hopefully he can go to the Texans. He'll probably be the second, running back. And hopefully he could just, help them go to the playoffs again. And, get over the hump of also beating the Chiefs. And so, yeah, it's just, a lot of
Yeah.
veterans still on the market. Keenan Allen's still available. He hasn't signed anywhere. And yeah, so good pickup for the Texans. Nick Chubb still has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a good one too. You mentioned Mixon, Joe Mixon's on that team. 1-2 punch. I mean, having a couple different running backs that could, change of pace. It looks like a change of pace too. It kind of remind me of back when the Browns had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they were top running backs in the league. Chubb was over 1,000 yards, and I think Kareem Hunt was almost at 1,000 yards. And they were might have been the only time the Browns has been to the playoffs in a really long time. But yeah, anytime you could have two good running backs like that, 1-2 punch, different styles, and that could only make the Houston Texans stronger.
yeah, and another team that signed another veteran running back was the Broncos. The Broncos signed J.K. Dobbins today. Actually, they signed him today on today Tuesday, June 10th, to a 1-year, $5.25 million contract. Dobbins had was coming out for almost a career year last season with the Chargers. He had a career best 1,058 total yards and 9 touchdowns in just 13 games. Um, However, though he probably he did miss 4 games with an MCL sprain. Um, and he's had his injuries in the past. He's had the ACL injuries and the Achilles injuries, and he could be the number one. He could be the starting running back for Denver. However, they did draft uh, a running back in the second round, Harvey out of Central Florida. So he will be competing for that running back one spot. And once again, another great signing for a guy that's dealt with injury, has shown his potential to be a good running back in this league, and now he gets paid just like Chubb and has a chance to compete for that running back one spot.
Yeah, I was just about to say who is the Broncos running back besides Bo Nix. But yeah, it looks like R.J. Harvey. I see him here. I was going to say Tim Tebow. Who's the other running back? Tim Tebow was a quarterback / running back back in the day. But yeah, J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, good for him. He has, like you said, a chance to move up that depth chart. Um, just hopefully, I know Raider defenses in the past have allowed the Broncos running backs to have field days, but I know the Raiders are trying to change that moving forward with Pete Carroll. But yeah, that's another. Looks like there's some decent signings that should work out for those teams.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully those two guys can go out there and ball out with their new teams. Obviously, the running back market has been weird as of the past couple seasons. People don't want to pay running backs, and then some of these running backs are getting big contracts. Saquon, after winning the Super Bowl, he got his extension. McCaffrey's got his big extension. The Raiders drafted Ashton Jeanty and made him the highest paid um,
Looks
running
like that's
back.
all it took. It took
Yeah,
Saquon to do what he did. What he have again? Close to 2,000 yards
he had 2,000,
uh,
2,000 yards. Yeah, 2,000
rushing.
rushing yards.
It took that shut up everybody else, and now they're signing running backs again. now they found out they have a need for running backs, and there's some good ones they're signing right now. And yeah, like you said, the Raiders drafted. Excited to see that guy line up in the silver and black, and we expect big things from him.
Yes, we do. The Raiders do expect big things from Ashton Jeanty. But yeah,
Anything's better than last year, right? Anything's better than, I mean, who were they, like close to the bottom, if not the bottom of the league in rushing?
yeah,
So,
I think they were the worst team in rushing.
whew,
But yeah, good for these running backs though. They are finally, getting shown some love. They're getting some, getting
getting some
themselves
attention.
contracts, and now they are able to hopefully go, like I said, ball out. But moving on from the NFL, obviously, the season, obviously mandatory minicamp has started. It is, June. Season starts, I believe it was something like 90 something days away. So football season is coming soon, and I'm excited. I know everyone else is excited. Can't wait to start my fantasy football league. But yeah, moving on from the NFL, we're gonna move into a little bit of MLB. The other day, the Boston Red Sox called up number one prospect Roman Anthony. The outfielder was smashing in the minors last season in 2024. He was out. He was batting 291. He had 18 homers and was just phenomenal. And then this past season, before getting called up in AAA, he was batting 288. He had 10 homers, 29 RBIs. He walked 51 times in 58 games. So the kid, he's special. He's what? How tall? He's 6'3". He's only 21, and he got his first hit, I believe, yesterday. And now, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
now
looking at the family reacting. I'm looking at the family reacting to this first hit. Exciting time for that young man. Call him up. Let's get him on the field. His mom's crying as we're talking here, and it's like, yeah, call him up. Let him. He's put in his work in the minor leagues, and he's just, let's see what he's got. In the big leagues, right?
yeah, his first hit was a double. Three. I think it was three RBI double. Um, I know his first game was a little iffy. He made a pretty bad error out in right field, but yeah, second game hit the three RBI double, and I mean this like another guy just like Jack Caglione, the Royals prospect that they called up. He just has raw power. It's big kid. Like I said, he's 6'3". And these kids are these guys, man. I'm not saying these are kids. These guys are only 3 years older than me. Um, they're just such
These guys are
raw.
massive, right? Hey,
Yeah,
they're massive. They're like
yeah.
huge. Would you say
They
six
just
three? Oh,
6'3". The other one guy was like 6'5". I mean,
six
these
three
guys just
just
have
graduated from high school.
they just have raw power. They're just super strong, with their swings, and it's just new age, new era of the MLB
What
is
are they? What are they eating? Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're probably eating McDonald's. So
yeah, they
what
are probably on those steak and eggs.
steak and
Um,
egg? There you go.
but yeah, he's called up. The Red Sox have been struggling a little bit. They were right there in the standings with the Yankees, and they're taking a falling off since. Some people say they might be selling at the trade deadline. One of the other outfielders, Jaron Duran, is out there, could be possibly traded on the block, and now they call up the top prospect, so they get to see, what he's got. He's the number one prospect for a reason, and now it's time to see him live up to it. But
Yeah, and I'm all about that too. I don't know about you, but I like to, see the young guys get called up, get their chance. Um, I mean, if you're like you said, the Red Sox are in a little slump right now, then what do they have to lose? You drafted them high for a reason. He's putting his work in. These guys are working hard and get the call up. It's exciting. They're probably, I'm sure they're nervous and wanting to perform. Uh, but yeah, no, there's still plenty of baseball left, right? What are we on, game 50 of 200?
yeah, well, I think we're only 70 games in. There's still about 90 left, and yeah, so there's a lot of baseball left to play. But also right now, currently going on, Padres Dodgers are in a 3-game series, and then they get a break, not a break, but they play each other right now, and then they have play another series, and they back again playing each other for a 4-game series. Last night, on Monday, June 9th, Dodgers took game one against the Padres, 8-7 in extras. Obviously, some people say this isn't a rivalry. Some people say the Dodgers rivalry is against the Giants.
Mhm.
And I agree. Like historically, those two teams have always gone back and forth. But as of now, and when you think of rivals, you think, Yankees, Red Sox, like I
Yeah.
said, Giants, Dodgers, But right,
Yeah, I would say Dodgers Giants. I mean that dates back, as long as we can remember. I mean, there's hate there. There's it's like it's Giants week, it's Dodgers week, whatever. Once these guys go at it, it's like then fans want to rip each other's heads off. So, but yeah, I would say that's more of a rivalry. I don't know. Maybe San Diego's trying to get in one, get in a rivalry themselves with the Dodgers, but maybe not yet. It looks like I'm looking at the standings real quick. Yeah, it still looks like it's Dodgers 1, Giants 2, then Padres 3. Not much separating the Giants and Padres, so that could switch. But
yeah. I mean, as of right now, going dating back to last postseason, when they played each other. That 5-game series. I mean, a lot of trash talk, a lot of talent on the field. I mean, as of right now, I think they're the most entertaining two teams to play each other. I think they're the most entertaining rivalry currently. Um, and I'm all for it. And as a Padres fan, I mean, it's just entertaining baseball. I mean, that game last night it was like almost perfect. I mean, a lot of scoring, a lot of great pitching. I mean, it had everything. And these two teams will probably meet again in the postseason. Hopefully, this time in a 7-game series. Because they're always super fun to watch. I mean, just watching the two teams go back and forth. Yelling at each other, talking trash.
yeah.
Celebrating. Bat flipping.
I see
Get
Manny Machado. Manny Machado, yeah, he's known to talk some smack. I remember him with the Baltimore Orioles against the A's back in the day. Uh, yeah, it was always very vocal and staring down pitchers, if not other players, and trying to get something stirred up to try to motivate himself. And I'm sure he's doing that right now.
Yeah, and so yeah, that series is currently going on. Like I said, they play another 4-game series starting Monday. But before we close out today's episode, the College World Baseball Series it's finally set. Obviously, like I said, baseball season is currently upon us. Um, and a local Live Oak alumni of the high school I went to, he's currently on the UCLA Bruins, and he helped pitch it their way into um the World Men's
Is this the
College World
Final
Series.
Four, or what is this here? Yeah, I'm trying to look for it here. Where's it?
Um, yeah, I thought I pulled up a bracket. I guess I didn't. Right now, in the Super Regionals, I guess it's Murray State. Oh no, Murray State beat Duke. Today I don't think there's anything going on.
So I got UCLA versus Murray State. That's the 14th.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the UCLA has an alum from Live Oak.
Yes, they do.
What was he? Did he just graduate or?
No, he graduated I think a couple years, 2 years ago. So
Okay,
this is I believe his second year with the Bruins. Um, and yeah, it
nice.
was cool because he pitched in their last game. And it's something cool to see, from a small school, uh, like Live Oak is. It's
You're like I seen that guy on campus.
yeah, tall guy. He's about 6'4", six
Oh,
four, 6'5" himself. So
it was meant to be 6'3", 6'4". Wow, these guys are monsters.
yeah. So right here, bracket one, it's Coastal Carolina versus Arizona, and then Oregon State versus Louisville, and then UCLA versus Murray State, and then Arkansas versus LSU. So I'll probably be watching that just to go support fellow Acorn. But
There you go. Yep.
that will be all for today. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I think I'm gonna change up the schedule. I think we're gonna start getting episodes out every Wednesday. Maybe we'll go back to 2 times a week. I just know news is slow right now.
You're a busy
Um,
guy right now, man. You've had a lot on your plate, man.
yeah, but now it's summertime, so now I'll be more freely. So
Yeah.
now I'll get these more um better edited, better everything. I'll try to put more. I'll put more work into this. But yes, thank you all for
Yeah.
tuning in. I like to thank my guest, my uncle, for joining me today. And until next time, stay ready.